Hello everyone. So in this video we're going to talk about how to make get request to an external API. In this video we are just going to talk about get request because in this video we are going to make uh, one more service for our mega project that we are building. Okay, and in the process I'll teach you the basics of actually handling external API. Okay, and we'll make a simple GET request. And in the upcoming videos, we'll talk about post request, delete request, put request. Okay, so once basics are clear, we can talk about everything at once. Okay, so we're just going to make GET request today. Okay, so in previous videos we have talked about what is an API. Okay, so you basically APIs are like this. Okay, these are endpoints. Okay, so these are URLs. So when you click on these URLs, instead of getting an entire HTML web page, you get a response. You get a JSON response. Okay, you get some data. So basically, APIs are a way of transferring your data from one point to another. That's it. For example, Tingo. Okay, so it's a API. What this API does is it has data of stocks. Okay, and it uses these APIs to transfer that stock data to you. Simple. And in the previous videos we have made we are trying to make something like zero the stockbroking platform, and for that we made a user service. Okay, that service is just handling user data. Now we'll make a simple, very simple stock service. So our aim over here is to get latest price of a particular stock. That's it. Our aim is to find the latest price of a particular stock. Okay, so no matter what API you're using, you'll get its documentation. Okay, you'll get its documentation. It might be anything. Okay, it might really be anything. Um, and so it might be anything. It might be weather API, it might be API that you have internally in your company. Okay, there can be tons of APIs. You can just google about APIs, some fun APIs, there's some joke APIs, and you can use those APIs, integrate in your projects, and you can make amazing projects. Okay, so I'm going to use Tingo. Um, so this is a stock API. You can also get forex or crypto information over here, as you can see. But for now, I'm going to use for stocks. Okay. So let's see. Now these are end of the day endpoints, as you can see. I'll just pick one URL. Mm, Okay. So if I have got to get the latest price, as you can see, this is the URL I have to hit. Okay. Pretty simple. I'll go to. So this is the URL I have to hit. Instead of ticker, I have to place my stock ticker. So APL. So it's for Apple. Okay, so like when I enter this, when I try to hit this URL, I'm getting please supply a token. What does it mean? Okay, so to access this API, okay, you have to authenticate first. Okay, how do you authenticate? You authenticate using your API key. Okay, that's it. So you have to pass this key along with your what do you call um, along with your URL to actually access this data. Okay, cool. Now you have to keep one thing in mind. Um, that how I will basically access this is give a question mark. So question mark is a delimiter for the URL, and write the keyword token equal, and then basically my API token. Okay, I'll go ahead and just paste my API token here. Click, and as you can see, I'm getting some response, right? I'm getting some response. So this is JSON response. This is what I want in my project. I want to get this response, and out of this, I want to pick out the latest price. Okay, fine. uh cool. Now you have to keep this in mind. It must not be token all the time for all the APIs. It cannot be token. Okay, this is what the creator of the API has said. Okay, how do I know this? I basically go in examples, and I see wherever they are actually requesting, they're using the keyword token. It might be something like API key, API ID, or authorization, anything. Okay, so this keyword you have to find out in the documentation itself. Fine. I can look at it in Postman to be much more clear. Okay, I have it here. Okay, So as you can see, so this is my JSON response, and it has add close at high, low volume. So you can use all these informations about the stock. I only am interested in the closing price. So this is add close. That's it. So I want to extract this add close from this JSON response using Java. Okay. So for that purpose, for that, I'm going to use a tool called WebClient. Okay. So in your Spring Initializer, you can just go and initialize your project. Okay. Uh, let's go back. Spring Initializer. I've already initialized it. I'm just showing it to you. And the dependencies, what you must add is reactive web, Spring reactive web. Okay. So this is the dependencies that is going to have web client in it. So web client is a dependency that we use to make get and post request nowadays. Earlier it was something like REST template. It's pretty much deprecated now, and we use web client. Okay, how web client is better than REST template? We'll talk about it someday later. But the only thing you have to understand is web client is asynchronous, and thus it's more efficient. What basically it means is when it's making the request, it's not waiting around and not doing any other job for it. Okay, so parallelly it can do other jobs while it's waiting around for your request to come. Okay, that's it. So not going too deep in it, I already have my project set up, the stock service, and what my goal is to basically call a client class and get the latest price of Apple. Cool. So let's make a client. Okay, let's make a client. Okay, so the job of this client is to make request to my Tingo API. Okay, let's make web client. Okay, is equals to web client dot. I can use create. Okay, if you want to add any sort of base URL, if you want to pass some default headers, you can also do that by using something called build method. Okay, build, sorry, builder. Okay, builder dot URI. Okay, base URL, you can configure the base URL over here. Okay, so for example, in this base URL is going to be tingo.com, right? Tingo.com, api.tingo.com. Okay, so that can be the base URL if you want to. Okay, let's do it in that fashion if you want to, but let's keep it simple and just use create. Okay, for now let's just use create. So create is the simplest way possible. Okay, that's it. um, or even a better approach will be to actually use a constructor of client to initialize it. Okay, so whenever you will call a client, a fresh will be created. Okay, it's web client dot create. Okay, so you have your web client created, and let's make a function to get the latest price. So int latest price. Okay, and fine. So let's get the latest price. For that, we need the URL, right? So string URL. What is going to be my URL? Hmm, okay, so this is going to be my URL, right? Um, this is going to be my URL. But obviously, you should not pass such hard-coded URLs, right? You have to make it custom. For example, you will definitely not pass Apple as hard-coded. So what we can do is we can use string formatting to make it a bit more dynamic. So percentage s for a string, and similarly over here, I'll copy my token, go above, and declare string my API key. This is my API key. Okay, as this seems fine. Okay, and yeah, so, okay, cool. Mhm. Token percentage s, and I'll get this ticker as a parameter, string string ticker. Okay, nice. So let's format our URL now. So my URL is going to be my URL is going to be string dot format. This is going to be my URL. First one is my ticker, and second one is going to be my API key. Okay, so my URL is there, and okay, now I have my URL ready. I'll make client dot. So these are all the requests you can make: get, post, delete request. I want to make a get request. Okay, dot URI. Let's pass the URL. Okay, now retrieve. Yes, I want to retrieve dot retrieve dot. Here you have something called body to mono. What does it mean? So whatever JSON body you are getting, what type of class or what type of object you want to map it to. Okay, this is the functionality of body to mono. Let's make a class. First of all, we don't have a class right now. Let's make a class, and we'll make a class, let's say stock. Okay, and in this class stock, I'll basically want to capture all this information, right? Add, close, high, low, volume, etc. Okay, so and all these things are not very important to me. They are not very important to me. uh, so I'll just take adj close. Okay, adj close. So let's take integer adj close. Okay, that's it. So this is it. I want some getter and setters, and for simplicity I'll use the Lombok annotation data. So this is a Lombok annotation. If you don't know what Lombok, it will automatically create some getters and setters for me. I don't have to do a lot of things. Okay, so if I write data, it's going to get us getters, setters, to string method, everything. Okay, so looks like my stock is done. Okay, so over here I'll pass stock dot class. Okay, that means I want my response to be of the type stock. Okay, and dot block in the end. Okay, so this is the basic format of your get request. So let's see. Sorry, stock. Okay, cool. And we can then return the stock dot get at close. As you can see, it automatically have actually created the getters and setters for this at the rate data annotation. It creates getters, setters, to strings. It creates everything. Okay, so you don't have to apart from constructors, it creates everything. So you don't have to make all that by yourself. Okay, so this is it. So let's try. So over here, this is get latest price. Let's make it latest price. Latest price. Yes. Okay, so I'm passing a ticker. Let's run it. Okay, let's run it. Let's see what's the issue, if we have any. Okay, so you have some errors. And why do we have some errors? Let's see. Okay, cannot deserialize the value from array to JSON. Okay, so what's the problem is that we do not have a simple JSON over here. We have a JSON array. Okay, so as you can see, it's a list. Okay, you can see the response pretty clearly. It's a list, and this is the standard format they're sending. So that means sometimes, okay, not in this, because you're just getting the end the price, the latest price. But if you click some other endpoint, there will be a lot of lot of objects like this. Okay, so that's why it's a JSON array. So you have to catch the entire array and get one entity out of it. Okay, so that's the point. So and that's why instead of stock, I'll take a stock array, and over here again a stock array. That's it. And then I'll get the first value. Okay, so let's see. um okay, it should work now. Okay, you got 185. Okay, you got 185, which is over here. Okay, so you have kept integer, that's why it's not taking float. Okay, that's not a problem, you can just replace it with float and it will come. Okay, so that's what you, so it's pretty simple, right? Now if you want to, let's say, store it in a list. Okay, it's just an additional information, you want to store it in a list instead of array. Can you do that? Yes, you can. Instead of an stock array, we will take a stock list, right? We'll take a stock list. Now, there's something very interesting when you actually take a list. Okay, what do you think? How you will handle this? Are you just going to do um, list of stock dot class? Will it work? As you can see, it's throwing an error. Okay, because this is not how you can use it. Why? Because list is a generic. Okay, it's a generic class, and you cannot. So that means it's inherit or inherit data type is not defined. Okay, it's not, the inherit data type of a generic is not defined. um, so if you don't know what generic, we'll talk about it sometime later. So for defining anything which is generic, okay, of a generic data type, that means it can capture the data type. A class that can capture multiple data types is a generic data type. Okay, so lists are generic. Okay, sets are generic. So basically whatever you type, let's say you type hash map, so and you give this symbol of two triangles basically, so this is a symbol of generic. Okay, you pass some data over here, so pass some data types over here, that this is generic. Okay, so for generic, how you can handle this? Okay, you have to use something called new parameterized type reference. Okay, this new parameterized type reference, and then you, in that you can pass your list of stock. Okay, that's it. You have to pass this new parameterized type reference when you are using any generic. Okay, so stock dot get, now instead of a simple zero, we have to use this. Fine, let's go ahead and run it. Okay, and now you again got this value, as you can see over here, right? You're getting the value. Now this is it for now. As you can see, we are easily getting up and getting the required the required result. And in the next video, we'll basically make a service or of buying and selling. Okay, we're going to make a marketplace service. That means in that service we'll be able to buy a stock, okay, and store it in our database. Okay, not in actual sense, but your database will be updated on the basis of how users buy your stock in the marketplace microservice. Okay, so this is a stock service, we already make user service, we'll make a marketplace service, and whenever the user purchases something over there, the data will be updated in the user service. Okay, and for that we'll again use web client, we'll use post request, put request, and get request for that. And it's going to be an amazing project that we are building slowly and steadily, and getting up to understand newer and newer concepts. Thank you so much for watching, and if you liked my videos, please subscribe to my channel, it's pretty new. Thank you.